good to see everybody. Good morning. More folks will be joining us along the way, I'm sure. Feels just like a real service, everybody gathering and greeting one another. That's just a beautiful, beautiful sound to my ears. Welcome one and all, particularly any new folks who might be joining us this morning. You've found the Unitarian Universalist congregation here in Santa Rosa. John Mason reminded me recently that when we were talking about the difference between doing live videos like this or the pre-made ones that we did before, that congregation literally means coming together, a group of people who come together. And so that's what we do here when we gather in this Zoom room, and it feels so good to me to be with you all. Whether you're here live or watching it later on the video, which we also make, you're all an important part of this community. So glad that you're joining us for worship. At its core, this is a community of people who want to help each other live well, a community steeped in gratitude, love, appreciation, and acceptance. And our recipe for living well is our mission: celebrating life, empowering people, caring for one another, and helping to build a better world. It's simple when you say it, but fulfilling it is the work of a lifetime. Today is our annual Samhain service, celebrating our ancestors and loved ones who have died. Thanks to everybody who made it possible: Aphrodite, our worship associate, and Karen, who helped with the setup, Sadie and our choir, which, by the way, if you want to sing in, we'd love to have you. They get together every Thursday. Roger Corman's our pianist, and Michael Bingham, sitting there in front of the Golden Gate Bridge, makes videos for us and is our tech guru. So thanks to all for making it happen. Thanks to everybody who came to last week's town hall. Great conversation there. One result of that meeting is that the courtyard of our building here, the Glazer Center, is now open for groups, using just the one bathroom in the back by the RE wing. So if you've missed being in the presence of others, the courtyard of the building is available, but you do have to reserve the space for your group by calling Kenyatta, our administrative manager, in the office. This Saturday, October 31st at 10 o'clock, I'll teach another session of my sources class on the sources of Unitarian Universalism. We'll look at humanism this time. And later that afternoon, the kids are going to have a drive-up Halloween experience here. Check your email for info there if you haven't seen that yet. Eric could tell you more. Last but not least, we do get together in other ways online, most notably through Soul Matters discussion groups and neighborhood groups. If you're not involved with one of those and you want to be, call the office and we'll get you connected. And thanks everybody again for being here as a congregation and helping us worship together. Let's breathe and center and prepare to worship with the sound of beautiful music.
Our chalice lighting words are number 451. Chris will light our chalice this morning. Please join me. Flame of fire, spark of the universe that warmed our ancestral hearth, agent of life and death, symbol of freedom, we strive to understand ourselves in our earthly home. Now, please join us in singing. Come sing a song with me. The words will be on the video. Our opening words are by Rainier Maria Rilke. You, darkness of whom I am born, I love you more than the flame that limits the world to the circle it illumes and excludes all the rest. But the dark embraces everything, shapes and shadows, creatures and me, people, nations, just as they are. It lets me imagine a great presence stirring beside me. I believe in the night.
And to prepare for our time for all ages, let us sing our 7 principles. They are right here. One, each person is worthwhile. 2, be kind in all you do. 3, let's help each other grow. 4, keep searching for the true. 5, each person has a say. 6, work for a peaceful world. 7, the web of life's the way that will bring us back to you, 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 you.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Time for All Ages. As always, it is so wonderful to be with you all again. This morning in RE, we explored what it means to listen to ancestors as we prepare for Samhain and Dia de los Muertos. Some of the children shared stories of loved ones and pets that had passed, and some even shared pictures and items that reminded them of these loved ones. In a moment, I'm going to share a video where you'll get a chance to hear some of these kids. And I just want to say I was truly blown away by the capacity these children had for love and their understanding for death. And it was a reminder that the perspectives of children can be both inspiring and humbling. So as we listen, I encourage you to hold someone who has died or passed away in your heart and to be reminded of them, just as these kids were reminded of those who came before them. And there's some, it's wonderful and inspiring, and it's also a little silly too. All right, so Winnie, you have something you'd like to share from somebody in your life who has passed.
My Nana, who's named after me, who is named Winnie, she passed away after a few weeks, after like my second week that I was born, and she passed away, and I felt really sad. I feel really sad normally around this time, but my mom's birthday is around it. So we get to celebrate Dia de los Muertos on my mom's birthday. And I normally make an altar for my dog that passed away, and my grandma and grandpa who passed away, and my great grandpa and my nana.
Wow, that sounds like a beautiful way to remember your family and those who have passed, your dog, your grandma, your grandpa. Thank you for
sharing. And my great grandpa.
And your great grandpa too. Thank you for sharing, Winnie. That's so wonderful. All right. Jasper, you had someone that you were remembering. Would you like to share how you remember that person?
So, I never met her, but her name was Mimi. Mama, that's how I knew, is because Mama knew her. And this ring that Mimi gave to Mama reminds me of her. And her birthday was the day before Halloween.
Wow.
So that's basically another good reason.
Another good reason to celebrate Halloween. Thank you.
Celebrate near Halloween.
Wow. That looks like a very special ring, Jasper. I can tell you're taking very good care of it because it's so special. Thank you, Jasper, for sharing that. And I think our last person now is Marcus. Marcus, would you like to share the way that you remember someone who has passed away?
What about me?
Rory, we can get to you next.
I think you're unmuted now.
We have one of our dog's collars that I've seen her, and her name is Kaya, and she died a few weeks ago.
Wow, so that happened pretty recently, huh? How does it make you feel when you hold her collar, Marcus?
Sad.
It makes you feel sad. Do you have any good memories of Kaya?
A whole bunch.
What's your favorite memory of Kaya?
When she rolled in her own poop.
Oh my goodness, that sounds very silly. Well, thank you for sharing, Marcus, and thank you for sharing, Winnie, and thank you for sharing, Jasper. I can tell that you all have so many wonderful, beautiful memories of your pets and relatives who have passed, and it's so nice to see the ways that you remember them. When you share those things, we get to carry them in our hearts as well, and they live on through you and through us and through memories. So thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining in that. We actually had a lot more kids share some wonderful memories. Unfortunately, we only had the time for 3, but it was a reminder that sometimes just asking young people and children about death, you can get some really interesting responses, including rolling about in your own poop, which was not expected. And now, as we finish our Time for All Ages, let's finish with our unison affirmation. We are Unitarian Universalists, people of the open minds, the loving hearts, and the helping hands. Thank you.
As most of you know, generosity is one of our greatest virtues as Unitarian Universalists, and we honor that in worship by taking a collection. And we share that collection, now give it all away, in fact, to a worthy organization out in the community that's doing good works. And here to tell us about the recipient of this week's Share the Basket from the Advocates for Social Justice is Paul Brockman.
Good morning, everyone. Are we sound-wise more or less okay, Chris? Excellent. So I think the organization that we're sharing our basket with today is very well known to most members of the congregation. It's the Living Room. And in ordinary times, pre-COVID, the Living Room is the only place in Sonoma County that provides drop-in day services for at-risk or homeless women and children. Right now, this year, like every other organization, they've needed to adjust their services, and they're working as a drop-in crisis center with social distancing for anyone that needs them, not just women and children. They're providing hot showers once a day with social distancing, apparently. They're providing a hot meal, and they're providing a range of other services Monday through Friday in the late morning and early afternoon. If you'd like to know more about the Living Room and what they're doing right now, they are still looking for volunteers as well as financial support. They're not taking any in-kind donations due to the COVID restrictions, but you are welcome, of course, to visit their website, thelivingroomsc.org. For most of us, they're very well known because we UCSR have been partnering with them in Share the Offering and through Advocates for Social Justice for more than a decade. But please think of them. Please think of all of our neighbors who rely on their services. Thank you, as always, for your generosity. Have a great afternoon. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Paul. And the easiest way to give is just to visit the UUCSR website at uusantarosa.org. You'll find a Give Now button there, and just follow the instructions. If you choose Share the Basket with organizations, that should be the clearest choice that you can make there. And one thing that lets us do is compile all those funds and send it off together as a congregation. And lately we've been sending $600, $700, $800 to the groups that we raise money for. So well done, and thank you so very much. And now we'll turn and hear this week's milestones.
Good morning. I'm Barbara Kezur, one of your lay chaplains. Milestones are where we share our joys and sorrows with the congregation. You're invited to light a candle to remember those you are holding near to your heart, and I will light one here. Lucia Kazulis writes, Shirley Rank's 90th birthday was on Thursday the 22nd. If you'd like to join in the deluge of birthday cards and alert her post person that something big is happening this week, please send cards. Her address will be on the focus list under milestones. And if you happen to have a photo of yourself, she'd love to have it. Happy birthday, Shirley. Shayna Billings writes, Alex Billings, who was active in the RE teen program several years ago, is now in the Navy and has just received his orders to board a destroyer ship stationed near Tokyo next April. Japan was Alex's first choice, so he's very excited to start his adventures overseas after 8 months of electrical schooling at the San Diego Naval Base. Congratulations, Alex. Natalie Brundred writes, my son Andrew turned 28 on Wednesday. Some say he's 28 going on 18. I hope that means he's always going to be young in spirit, like his mother aspires to be. Happy birthday, Andrew. Lou Gwendolyn tells us with sorrow and joy that her family is planning to relocate to Oregon, hopefully in mid-November. The sorrow, of course, is in leaving our congregation. She says we are forever changed by our time with you. From the bottom of our hearts, Michael, Serafina, and I thank you all. The joy, however, is that they will be living close to family. We will miss all of you. Good luck. Linda Lambert writes, Morgan's sister, Muriel Jean Carson of Bethesda, Maryland, passed away on October 10th. She was recently awarded a medal for being one of the first women to enter the Waves when it was established in July 1942 on her 21st birthday. So sorry to hear your sister passed away, Morgan. Randy Jones writes, my younger brother, Dave Jones, age 62, in Maricopa, Arizona, last Thursday suffered an episode believed to be a mild heart attack. He seems to have recovered as he is home now and feeling much better, but the cause seemed to be stress at work, and he's taking a leave at least until the end of the year and considering retirement. We wish him a speedy recovery, Randy. If you have something to share with all or a private concern to talk over with the lay chaplains, please contact us at laychaplains@uusantarosa.org. We give thanks for the sharing of these milestones, for how they remind us of our shared humanity and our common fate, and inspire our compassion and care. May all our joys be magnified as we delight together in the good news. May all our sorrows be eased as we carry them together in community. And may you who are searching for courage, comfort, faith, and hope find what you seek. And may all people grow in wisdom, compassion, and love, that the whole world might live with justice and peace. Take care, be safe, be well.
All right, I'm going to invite us into a time of some stillness and contemplation, first with a prayer, and then the ringing of the bells and the being still. Before that gets undertaken there, I want to lift up today in particular just something that we haven't spent a whole lot of time on, partly because it's so hard for us to get our head around, which is just how great the loss of life during this pandemic has been. And there's a couple of powerful ways that we found recently to express this that I want to share with you. The first is this art exhibit, as it were, in Washington, D.C., that set out 22,000, that's 1/10 of all of those who've been lost, chairs in front of the White House. And that begins to give you just a little bit of a sense of what we're really talking about here. And then during the meditation itself, instead of the candles that usually are burning here on either side of us in the sanctuary, we've constructed a video of first 1,000 candles that gradually multiplies over time into over 200 screens of those candles. Again, just to give us a sense of what so many families around us are really dealing with. So I invite you to incorporate that awareness with an open, broken heart into our time of stillness. Please join me in prayer if you'd like. Spirit of life and love, great living universe, thank you for this day. Thank you for the gift of life. Thank you for the gift of this community and the chance to gather together to remind ourselves of our deepest values and our profoundest hopes. Thank you for all the gifts that make life so wondrous, the gift of music and poetry, worship, beauty, friendship, good food, the wonders of nature, love and deep friendship, all of which are present for us today. Let us not take any of the blessings of life for granted. Our hearts are open this day to one another and to all the world around us, to the many folks who are suffering in different ways, those who are living on the streets and facing financial fears, joblessness, all the people who are struggling under the threat of violence around the world. Our hearts particularly today open to those on the streets and the women and children who receive the care of the living room. May they be at ease and find security and safety and happiness. Praying for all those among us who are facing illness or recovering in different ways, sending healing light to Linda Prue, recovering from surgery, to Justin, still in the hospital, recovering, and to Deb Mason as she continues to battle her cancer. Many others are in our minds. We pray for all of those who are working to bring normalcy back to the world, trying to fight the virus, praying for a speedy vaccine and a trustworthy vaccine. We're praying for rain and no strong winds and no fires. We are aware that we fall short of our aspirations and toward the lives we would choose to live, and for the various ways we have allowed ourselves to fall victim to despair or meanness. We apologize and open ourselves again to a fresh start and to continuing to step forward into serving the good in every way we can. And many other prayers held in the silence of our hearts, we say, Amen, and blessed be.
You have probably noticed that it's the time of year when things around us in nature have stopped growing, and they are circling that particular bend in the cycle of life of going back to the earth. Plants are storing their energy in their roots and preparing for the winter ahead, or producing seeds for the next cycle. This is the natural progression of things on our planet, and so it is that for millennia, humans have found it a time for reflection of this part of the cycle of life. I follow a spiritual practice that honors this time of the year with the observance of Samhain, usually held on October 31st or November 1st. I placed loved ones and honored ones on my altar and remember their lives and the love we shared, because what is remembered lives. For many years now, our community at UUCSR has come together around this time to honor our ancestors. This year, we joined together in this virtual way to do so again. We allow space on our altar for our beloved dead, those who were close to our hearts and lives. Also, we leave room for those who have been our mentors, guides, or chosen ancestors. These people are sometimes referred to as our mighty dead. We share space for those we loved who have passed the threshold this year, and those loved ones who we always keep in our hearts and will continue to hold close in our lives. This year, we honor some larger-than-life ancestors who I'm sure you will all agree were leaders and guides for us all, including the notorious Ruth Bader Ginsburg and John Lewis. These forces of nature are mighty dead. Their words and actions will continue to guide our nation long after their deaths. However heartbreaking it is that these teachers and dissenters are no longer with us in person, we know that their lives were lived to their fullest potential, and their deaths were within a natural progression in the cycle of life. As the words of John Lewis reminds us, I say to people today, you must be prepared if you believe in something. You have to go for it. As individuals, we may not live to see the end. I think that most of us would want to know that our lives on this earth were in some way or another a gift to others, a gift of lessons learned, a gift of wisdom, a gift of helping hands, a gift of love. What's a little harder for me to reconcile are those taken from us too soon. Many of us have experienced that kind of loss personally. And now some of us, and many around the world, have lost friends or family to the coronavirus in that same way. Since the spring, our country alone has lost close to 225,000 people to the coronavirus. As our surviving families are here to remind us, each of these 225,000 is a human soul lost, a family in shatters, a loved one taken too soon and without family by their side. If I were to name each one, I would be speaking each name uninterrupted for the next 3 days. I can get carried away by the statistics and the anger that one more person was not protected from this terrible virus. What's more difficult for me is to sit with the sadness and realize the enormous grief that accompanies each death. It's almost too much to let in, as if doing so would certainly break me. I clearly cannot feel bereaved for every person taken by COVID, but I can honor their loss. These souls were taken too soon, and with their death, they are now part of our story. I am reminded to listen deeply, feel deeply, grieve deeply. This is a time of mourning. We are a nation in mourning with the death toll rising, and as we have seen, more intensely for our Black and Brown and Indigenous families. We must learn that we are only safe when everyone is safe. This should have been an event that brought our country and our world together, fighting for each other, but it wasn't, and for that I grieve. It's challenging to find hope, but it's there. Adding these souls to the altar, observing that in their passing, they have unwillingly become a historical lesson for us all and generations to come. Lifting up their story to remember that we are interconnected. We need each other and rely on each other to survive in this world and keep each other safe. This web of life that we weave together is in peril if we choose not to learn from their loss. Listening to the story of death in any circumstance, I hear one consistent lesson. Life is to be lived. People are to be loved. Death is an ending of something, but not the ending of all things. Please join us in singing, "The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return." It's number 387 in our hymnal, but trust me, you won't need the hymnal for this one.
The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. Aye, 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 oh, aye, oh, aye, 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 oh, aye, oh, aye. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. Aye, aye. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. Aye, 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 oh, aye, oh, aye, 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 oh, aye, oh, aye. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. Aye, 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 oh, aye, oh, aye, oh, aye, 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 oh, aye, oh, aye, oh, aye. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. Aye, 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 oh, aye, oh, aye, oh, aye, 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 oh, aye, oh, aye, oh, aye. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. Aye, 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 oh, aye, oh, aye, oh, aye, 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 oh, aye, oh, aye, oh, aye. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. Aye, 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 oh, aye, oh, aye, oh, aye, 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 oh, aye, oh, aye, oh, aye. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, 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 return. Aye, 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 oh, aye, oh, aye, oh, aye, 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 oh, aye, oh, aye, oh, aye.
We begin by honoring and inviting the four directions as we bring this ancestor altar into our service today. Spirits of the East, spirits of air, of winged things of this world and of our creation, times of beginnings and planting and creativity, We welcome these winds of adventure. Spirits of the South, spirits of fire, of salamanders, and all those warmed by the sun. Times of full sunlit days and vigorous growth. We welcome this energy sparked in the soil. Spirits of the West, spirits of water, of all things ebbed in on the waves. Times of setting suns and rich harvests. We welcome the diverse seeds set aside for the future. Spirits of the North, spirits of earth, of mountains and trees and mycelium. Times of dark nights and waning moon, of deep inner strength and wisdom. We welcome the pause for gestation. We acknowledge that our Unitarian Universalist congregation in Santa Rosa is located in the traditional territory of the Southern Pomo. We recognize that the colonizing ancestors have inflicted great suffering and death to the native peoples of these lands. We honor the continued presence of Indigenous peoples in this area. Blessed be. Offered here is an altar created for us. But sometimes bright mornings don't lend themselves to a deeper listening. Sometimes that requires a moment of silence, a lit candle in the darkness to focus our attention. You may feel drawn to make space in your home to build an altar for your loved ones. Maybe as an offering, you will choose to make a meal that your loved one would enjoy in their honor. As we have placed items on our altar here, I encourage you to imagine your own loved ones' images and names here. And Chris actually is going to let you include those names in our chat box this morning. Step into the sadness, if that is where you are called, or the joy of their memory. All feelings are valid. We hold them with us as we build this space and spend this time together in tenderness, being open to a relationship shifted, a love kept alive, although the loved one can no longer be with us. We honor them all. Please add your name to the chat and include these in the video being shared.
truly beautiful to share that with you. You know, every morning now since my heart surgery, I take a vigorous walk so I don't ever have to have that surgery again. And almost every day I walk in the rural cemetery. Sometimes I include the Santa Rosa Mortuary Park in my preambulations. And it's a wonderful place to me, filled with life, birds of every kind, a lovely mix actually of life and death, and a perfect spot for reflecting on the power and meaning of bringing the spirit of our ancestors into our lives. I'm struck repeatedly there that this effort to place some stone symbol, a bulwark against impermanence, actually so powerfully reveals impermanence. If you've ever been to the rural cemetery, you know, sooner or later, enough water seeps into even the largest obelisk, freezes a few times, and knocks it to the ground. This thing that's supposed to proclaim everlastingness actually reveals impermanence more. It's a beautiful thing. I look at those graves, I think about all of those bodies, and there are the birds dancing on top. I think about how many people are buried just in the rural cemetery, and then to give myself a quick dose of transcendent awe and wonder, I think about all of the people through all the countless generations who have been laid in the earth. Think for a moment about every person who had to live just in order for us to be enjoying this moment together right now. Each of us with 100,000 ancestors, all of whom had to get together at least once in order to bring the next generation to be. That's true of everyone in this room. That's true of everyone who designed and built the computers that we're looking at each other on, and who built this building and brought me my food this morning, and so on and so on. An endless stream of life for each and every one of us, all the way back to whatever slimy electrocharged protein lump was first given the power to reproduce and convert the sun's energy into its own energy. That happened. And all those people, all those animals and beings and people that brought us into being, they all really lived. It's kind of a wonder through all the struggle of peoples and empires and all the violence we've done to one another, all of our striving to better ourselves. All that until some 100 or 80 or 50 or 20 or 5 years ago, you were born. And around us, that same incredible fabric building this congregation, among other things. If nothing else, let this day give us appreciation for just how vast that web of life really is. Of course, not everyone in that web had equal influence on us. Today, we particularly honor those who were nearest to us in the great web, our parents, our children, our lovers. And it feels so valuable to me personally to do this. I'm grateful that this is a yearly observance for us. In my family, allergic to emotions, we have nothing like the Day of the Dead. We just kind of stopped talking about those among us who have died, reflecting, I think, the deep death and grief resistance of our culture. I mean, actually, there the word allergy really seems to apply. So today we make space for it. We get real about it. for the fact of death and grief, although this is not fundamentally a day of mourning. It's a day of gratitude, a day of giving thanks to those who loved us and whom we loved, to say thank you to them. To some, maybe say, I'm sorry. To some, maybe say, I won't let you down. Today, we affirm the lasting impact of those who have gone before and welcome them into our lives more richly. In our Zen sutras, there are occasionally questions like, when shall we be freed from birth and death? And teachers often ask, where have you come from, or where are you going? These are all trick questions. We're not coming anywhere or going anywhere. They are all meant to steer us only to the now. We don't get freed from birth and death. Life and death are intimately and completely interwoven. And so truly, this great cloud of witnesses we've named today, they're here singing with us. The road home is home. And that road, as Bilbo sang, goes ever on and on. We're here, our departed loved ones are here, everything is here, and it's all home. With our every step, the complete universe is bathing us in that love and acceptance. And really the only question is, can we return the favor? If we will love the universe, even though it takes our loved ones from us, and if we love our ancestors and our children and our lovers in spite of their so-called imperfections and ourselves, then clearly the answer to that question is yes. Let us celebrate our ancestors and our beloved dead and know that we are not alone.
Tell me where
Our closing words are to be read responsively. They're now on your screen. I'll read the bold and everyone together will read the italics. In the struggles we choose for ourselves, in the ways we move forward in our lives and bring our world forward with us, it is right to remember the names of those who gave us strength in this choice of living. It is right to name the power of hard lives well lived. We share a history with those lives. We belong to the same motion. They too were strengthened by what had gone before. They too were drawn on by the vision of what might come to be. Those who lived before us, who struggled for justice and suffered injustice before us, have not melted into the dust and have not disappeared. They are with us still. The lives they lived hold us steady. Their words remind us and call us back to ourselves. Their courage and love evoke our own. We, the living, carry them with us. We are their voices, their hands, and their hearts. We take them with us, and with them choose the deeper path of living. So may it be.